Hey there, hello friends, welcome back to Biolog and we are continuing with the fifth chapter of 11th standard, that is cell structure and organization part 3. So in the previous classes we have studied about prokaryotic cells, and we have studied about differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, and also we have studied about different organelles of prokaryotic cell. In today's chapter, we will be dealing more about eukaryotic cell. So, when we say about a eukaryotic cell, it is basically the cell, the developed cell or the advanced cell, which has a well developed nucleus and which has membrane bound organelles. And so we see different organelles such as mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi apparatus, centrioles, in microtubules in our eukaryotic cell. Now, when we talk about eukaryotic cell, we know that it is classified into four different parts. That is your protist, which are unicellular. The examples can be amoeba and paramecium. Then we have fungi, which can be both unicellular and multicellular. For unicellular, the example is yeast, while multicellular we have mold, and plants and animal cell. So eukaryotic is classified into these four sections. Now the first organelle that we are going to study is our cell wall. So when we talk about cell wall, the cell wall for all these different categories is different based on the need of the cell. Protists and algae, they are made up of cellulose, that is you can say a long unbranched chain of glucose molecules mostly. Then you have fungi, which is made up of glucans, chitins and glycoproteins. So these are all nothing but combinations of your sugar and proteins, which make your cell wall rigid, flexible, or however it is beneficial for that particular cell. Then you have plants, which are made up of polysaccharides, cellulose, and hemicellulose. Now, what are hemicelluloses? They are a little bit different from your cellulose, as in they are small branch, unlike your cellulose, which are long and unbranched. Hemicellulose are small and branch and made up of small monosaccharide units. Alright, and then you have last but not the least the animal cell, which lacks a cell wall. Okay, so remember this. The main function of cell wall is to give a rigid, supportive framework to our cell, and it is the protective outer covering of plasma membrane, we can say, or the inner environment of your cell. Now, when we see a plant cell, as you can see in this image, there are various organelles that are present, but the basic difference that can be done between a plant cell and an animal cell is that a plant cell has a larger space or a larger vacuole. You can see it in the center, the central large central vacuole, which is absent in your animal cell. And also your plant cell only has the cell wall, which gives the rigid cell shape. That definite shape that we have of a plant cell is because of the cell wall, which is not present in your animal cell. The other things that constitute that help our plant cell wall are cutin, waxes, suberin, which help reduce the water loss and also help the prevent the pathogen invasion. Now, when we study about the plant cell wall, the cell wall can be differentiated into three different structures, that is your middle lamella, primary wall, and the secondary wall. Now, when we say the middle lamella, it is the thin layer that you can see over here, which lies between, which is found between the adjacent cells. Now, when we see a closer look to each plant cell, we observe various organelles that are your Golgi apparatus, chloroplast, and we have smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, amyloplast, that are your starch grains, cytoplasm. So all these things, they will be explained. They are all the eukaryotic cell organelles and will be explained in the further video. In this, when we are looking at the cell wall, we can see them when we compare different cells, when we take a macroscopic view of the plant cell, we see different cells attached to each other like as a jigsaw puzzle. And then when you can see in this image, we have three basic components that are your secondary cell wall, primary cell wall, and middle lamella. We can say the growing plant cell produces a primary cell wall which stretches as the cell grows. Then a secondary cell wall may be produced inside the primary cell, and it is strong, rigid, and thick. Then you have a middle lamella, which is the area between adjacent plant cells, and it is made up of pectin. Then we have plasmodesmata, which are the connections between two adjacent cells, and also there are some pits present, might be present in your cell wall. So this is all about the cell wall of eukaryotic cells, and in the next video we will be dealing with the next organelle. So thank you.